You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast. I'm here today with Rick and Paul, as usual. Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, it's all right. Thanks yourself.
I'm pretty darn good. You, Paul?
I'm also well. I got a thing in the mail today from a dear friend. I got Police Quest 3 EGA from Anna, and I love you and thank you so much. I'm excited to image them discs and have fun with that later.
Oh, I'm excited for you. Yeah, let me know how those images go. I myself, I'm also super excited. We have a guest here on the podcast. He's a very versatile actor with an entertainment career that spans over more than 30 years, including TV shows like Jag and Down Home, movies such as Alien Species, as well as video games, with a most notable role as Don Gordon, professional photographer come demon, from Roberta Williams' Phantasmagoria. He has also recently done a voiceover in the new FMV game that was just released in May, Dark Nights with Poe and Monroe. I am super pleased to introduce to all of you David Homb.
Howdy, y'all. That's the way we greet folks here in the land down under, here in Texas.
Howdy.
Texas. Well, welcome to the show. It is a great honor and pleasure to have you on.
The pleasure and honor is all mine. I've been listening to you guys for quite a while, and I want to thank you so much for putting me in such a good class and caliber of folks. I'm very flattered.
We're very flattered that you are here on the podcast with us today. We have lots of questions for you. Some of us, Paul, I think you played Phantasmagoria when you were actually maybe younger than you should have been.
Yeah, I did. It really traumatized me, and I have a lot of emotional baggage from it. Thanks, mate.
Oh, your English is so good.
Are you confronting a demon here, Paul? Like, is this is this like a traumatic interaction or intervention or whatever you call it?
Yeah, that's why this is audio only. I couldn't handle the video as well.
Too much.
Well, that's really good because my very good friend, Carl Nemec, he was the telephone guy that I put the axe in his head.
Mm-hmm. Right, Carl with the axe in his head.
Yeah, he is probably my best friend from Hollywood after all the years, but very, very close. He sent me a nice message earlier and said, hey, good luck on the podcast. Listen, it's a podcast. Do it naked.
Yeah.
That's actually the rule we've always subscribed to, so I'm glad you came prepared and we didn't have to tell you.
Okay, don't hit the camera button. I'd have to charge each of you at least $20. I don't know.
That's Patreon.
Yes.
Well, yeah, let your child be older than, what were you, 9 when you played it?
Yeah, probably 9 or 10. Yeah, something like that. I still, to this day, I have an aversion to gardening and hose. Well, not those kind, but the gardening kind. The other ones are great.
Oh, good. That's clear. Good.
Oh, that's great.
You became a vegetarian and everything?
No absinthe? You don't like to drink absinthe?
Yeah.
Do you know what absinthe is, Paul? You seem to be confused.
It's green, and you maybe hallucinate.
You can see fairies, yes.
Oh, perfect.
Well,
Okay.
The
I'd like
original
some, please.
absinthe, it was made with the wormwood extract, and that was what caused it. And you can actually still get it with a percentage of the wormwood extract, at least here in Canada, but the percentage is so low, you'd have to drink so much to cause the hallucinations that you'd probably end up with alcohol poisoning first.
Challenge accepted.
Yes.
Suspicious amount about that.
I gotta say, I know it's supposed to be hallucinogenic, but I've never... I've tried absinthe a few times, and I've tried fair quantities of it. Like, I've had more than one drink of it, and it doesn't really do anything to me.
No, you need to go back in time.
I don't think I even really get drunk off it.
No, I mean, yeah, I've had, especially over in Holland, yes, which is the good stuff. Yeah, I've had plenty. I didn't hallucinate any more than I usually do. Normally.
What is the normal level? What is a Tuesday afternoon for David Homb?
It really depends on whether I need to go clean my mom's toilets out or, you know.
Is that something you have to do often?
Yeah, well, you know, when the call comes, hop in the car and go take care of whatever shit mom needs taken care of.
She knows who to call when she needs the drain cleaner brought over.
Yeah, and the drain cleaner I hadn't even thought of until you said that. So, yes, I need to stock up. I've been out for a while.
I hear you get real ornery if you don't get some on time.
Not like in the old days, but yeah.
Mellowed with time.
You know, before we get into the Phantas story, how it came about and all, whatever you guys would like to hear, I do want to say thank you very much to Roberta and Ken for taking me on that journey, because it was a fantastic, probably my favorite. I mean, I've starred in 30 movies, a lot of TV, a lot of stuff. And that was definitely my favorite, even though I had no clue as to what I was doing when we started. I know I didn't. I don't even think Victoria, I don't even think we owned a computer when we started doing that, let alone played games. So anyway, I want to thank Roberta.
Yeah, because I was back, it came out in 95. So like, whenabouts would you have been filming that?
94, 95. Yeah. Okay. 95. Yeah.
Right, 'cause I know it took like, Roberta said it took like 2 years to get it all done. I just, I know a little bit about...
Yeah, everything they needed to do, which I was blown away once I really was able to see what that entailed. But the actual shooting with us, Victoria started a couple weeks before me, a lot of the stand and turn and, you know, those moments. And then we worked for at least 3 months.
Yeah, because I believe I read, as well as it was verified by Roberta herself in person, that was about 4 months of shooting, which is insane.
Yeah.
That is an incredibly long time for shooting.
Well, it was, Roberta was fabulous. I mean, she was so giving. I never saw anyone with such tenacity and passion about a project. And, you know, it was her creation. And she was so open to suggestions, and we laughed so much. She told me one day, "You're my villain, and you're the funniest person I've just about ever met." Well, there we are. It was such a nice set, and great Bill, Mark, everybody was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious, taking a step back from there, how did you hear about the role? Was there, I guess more so, how did you hear about the role? And also, was there like secrecy behind the project when you first caught wind?
This is funny. I saw it written on a bathroom wall, and no, I didn't.
Ken sends me.
That's terrible. I gotta make sure nobody believes that. At that point, I think I had, I don't know, starred in 20-something movies. I was doing well, TV and stuff. And I loved Hollywood, loved the work, loved the money, loved, you know, had some friends. But, you know, it's such a negative place. And I have a super bright spirit. So that was always a little bit of a fight for me. So I discovered a way around it was after I would finish a guest star on a show or whatever project, I had two places. I had about an hour and 45 minutes out of town up in the California mountains, this beautiful place. And I would pitch my tent, take my telescope, and hang out for a few days, get my karma and everything back in order. Or else I would go to Laughlin, Nevada and gamble. I had actually shot a movie in Laughlin, so I found out about it. It's like a little bitty Las Vegas, but it was very laid back and small at that time. And so by this point, you know, we still had pagers, beepers, or you check your answering machine. Well, they came out with a cell phone, but this was that huge thing that looked like you stole it from a Humvee. Big military-looking phone with a 6-pound battery. Well, I bought one because, you know, it was a status symbol. It was like $600 a month back then. for this thing.
Yeah.
And no calls stayed completed very long. But so I had that, and I was in Laughlin. I just checked in. I carried it with me all the time just in case I got a call. And I was just sitting down playing a slot machine, and the phone rang, and it was for Phantasmagoria. It was casting director. And I had done a couple movies with them before, B movies. I started a lot of B movies. But I talked to him for just a few minutes. I went, a game? So I'm a pixel character? I mean, I don't know, man. I have no idea. It doesn't sound great right at the moment. And I just got here. I want to kick back and all that. So hung up the phone, and a few minutes later, the phone rang again and said, "Is this David Homb?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." "Hi, my name's Sonny. My husband, Peter's directing this game. And we really want to see you for this." And the conversation, I'm from Texas too, by the way, and had a little conversation with her. And I said, okay. And I think I hopped a little plane the next morning, flew back. I went back and then went back to the casino. But I went back to L.A. and went into the studio, and it was Roberta and I believe Mark, the director. I can't remember anybody else that was there, and I had no clue as to what this was. And they handed me a couple sides, and Victoria was there. And so my way is to always go out and read it by myself at first, so I can visualize, feel, whatever it is. And I was like, wow, this is cool. This is all over the place. And I can be crazy. Hardly ever get to be crazy. So, and then Victoria came out, and we rehearsed for, I don't know, 10 minutes, but we clicked right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And we went in and read it a time or two, and Roberta had such a big smile on her face, and everybody offered me the job and said, "This is Victoria, your star. She's already been working a little bit with us." And so it was a day or two later, I was to fly up to Oakhurst and flew up a little prop plane and got off the plane. I still had no idea what I was doing. Just sounded cool. And got off the plane, and I think it was Bill that met me there with a script that was 300 and something pages, like a miniseries. I was like, really? I'm used to about 120 pages max. So drove me to where I was staying, and then said, "We're going to do this and this tomorrow, light day, so you have time to read the script tonight." It's like, okay. And I went through it and went, wow, this is going to be awesome. And I'm still thinking in movie terms, because I was doing so much of that. And then the next day we shot the thing at the lake, the photos, and then next couple of days, the easy scenes with us, photography, getting to know each other, nothing serious until like the third day. And then it was one of the crazy scenes. And I didn't know the story well enough then. And everything's blue. There's no set. There's no nothing. And so I'm used to movies, certain, way of performing. And then Roberta was like, "This is going to be a game, okay, not a movie, so it needs to be bigger, and then we're going to shrink you." And I didn't have a clue. and I heard Roberta mention it as well, and this is from the start. We're working it, and Victoria, your left foot, move over, okay, out of the kitchen. Okay, now you're in the room. David, your right hand is in the attic or upstairs. And was like, wow, what's this place look like? Didn't actually get to see renditions for, I don't know, a week or two of what it actually looked like. Roberta took us over to the main area where all the people are working on their computers, and I was blown away. It was like, wow, all these people working on a little bits here and there. And then I saw some renditions. I was like, well, they said it was a big house, but geez, this is amazing. It changes your perspective a little. And I remember at the airport when you gave me the script, I said, so what is it? This is huge. What is this about? He said, it's a horror game. Just think of The Shining, and you're like Jack, but even more possessed.
Yeah.
Which sounded great to me. Once I saw the renditions and all that, though, it helped a lot. I wish I would have known much more about shooting a game and everything than I did then. So I could have contributed a little better in some of my performance. But it was brand new for all of us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think a lot of people these days would probably not really appreciate exactly how unheard of it would be to be filming in all blue screen at the time. And like, nowadays filming in a green screen studio is pretty standard for a lot of blockbusters anyways. So it's happened quite a bit since then. But at the time you did it, I'd say you'd probably be one of the first to do it, like shooting entirely in a blue screen studio.
And in Phantasmagoria, Victoria and I were, if I remember, like the first, we actually had to go in and have a meeting at the union. That was before SAG and AFTRA had merged. And I think this was done under AFTRA. And we were like the first 2 contracts, because nobody knew, even the union didn't know exactly how to pay and do all this. And, only thing they pointed out, there would be no residuals, which really sucked. But, so we went in and did that. But then and this is recent, and this is because I was listening to one of your podcasts and I heard the name of a game, the company. I went, wait a minute. And I have some big chests, one's costumes I wore in movies and stuff, and another one's signed scripts and photos and contracts. And I went and dug through that. This is just a few weeks ago. And I can't remember which interview I was listening to of yours, but then I found the first game I actually ever did. It was in the trade papers, Hollywood Reporter, all that, the SAG contracts for a game, Screen Actors Guild.
Oh, yeah.
And so, a bunch of us said, hey, that sounds cool. And I mean, there were 1,000 people in line already. I mean, it was huge. And I said, oh, this is crazy. But we stood in line, and if I'm going to stand in line, by God, I'm going to get it. And I got it. I got the part. It was like Sam Jones or something like that. And I think it was Electronic Arts. And it was I went in and I only shot 2 days in a green screen studio. And again, never had any idea. It was just a job. Did it. And so I'd forgotten all about doing that. So that Phantasm was actually my second game.
Wow. Nice.
So you'd already played a game and then you thought, I kind of know what I'm getting into. But then you came into you're like, this isn't entirely different. Hundreds of pages of script. I mean, every conversation has to have so many responses. It was like a movie and a movie plus.
Yeah, no, the first one was, I had to wear a suit at one time, had some dots on it. It's all green screen. And then the one day I just had clothes on, and I mean, I can barely remember this, and I didn't have too many lines. And I thought I was over 1,000 people standing in line for this 2 days of work. Good grief. But It was fun. It was good. And I forgot all about it until I heard your podcast a couple weeks back.
Wow. I'm kind of curious. How did you find the size of the crew at Phantasmagoria compared with other movies and shows that you had worked on previously?
Well, in the movies, there's quite a bit of people going around doing their thing. On Phantas, it was a very set group of folks in the studio, a very close-knit, tight group. We had so much fun. But I'd watch, and there'd be a camera moving here and one dollying around and one spinning sometimes. And, again, neither Victoria or I had a real concept of what everything was around us. We were just in one spot and trying to, do that moment. The crew was great, though. It was fantastic. It really was so much fun. I'd love to do that again. Knowing what I know now. Yes.
Yeah, do you think that maybe, is it that you wanted to have more of an idea of exactly the scene that you were looking for and it would have helped to have seen it first? Or do you think just by playing the game after you were in it, that's where you got the deeper understanding from that you wished you had it first?
No, a little bit prior to playing the game, because by then I had seen a great deal of the renderings. I'd seen the little trailers they made. That told us a lot, once we saw a little bit of completed piece. I wasn't even in the first one, but we saw a lot of the house and stuff. Yeah. Well, by the time day 3 or 4, and usually on a movie script, I know it inside out, everybody's lines, everything. This thing was so big and not written completely like a movie script that, I was a little lost. And then by the time day 3 or 4, I can't remember, but, and time to let the hair down and you get really crazy at this part. And I wasn't sure how possessed I was then. And I'd already shot those first scenes, which play very much like a movie scene, normal. And then the director, Roberta, no, crazier, louder, crazier, but we're going to shrink you. And I remember saying, really, it doesn't feel natural. Is this 2 demons or 7 demons? I mean, but just the performance, I just had to trust, and do whatever. It was great. It was a great experience. No matter what. Now,
quite often in movies, they film wherever based on the schedule, so it could be shot out of sequence from the script. For Phantasmagoria, did you shoot pretty chronologically, or was it all over the place in terms of the sequencing?
It was all over the place. I mean, I've got some of the storyboards I was looking at, and it bounces around. I don't know if that was how they needed to send it to the big crew, the people who really, did so much work. I couldn't believe all the people over there working on just a little segment, this person and that person, and I was clueless to that. I was blown away at how much was going into this.
I was curious. Do you have any standout behind the scenes stories from your time at filming that stand out as particularly funny or cheeky or debaucherous or just anything fun from behind the scenes to share?
Well, I don't want to be sued at this point, but no, I don't. I was laughing when I listened to Corey, Laurie, Cole, when they brought up the Oakhurst way you drive around and the getting pulled over, because all of us got pulled over numerous times. It just got to be a thing. But I had forgotten about that and laughed and went, oh, yeah, I remember getting pulled over several times. You live up here? No, I'm shooting a game. A what? A game? What is that? Phantasmagoria? Never mind. I'm going to give you a warning. I never got a ticket, so it worked. But Bass Lake, Oakhurst, great place. Oh my gosh! All of Victoria and I were, we're in hog heaven. With beautiful location, beautiful place, and making great money and nowhere to spend it. And so it was fun. It was funny because it was after the game, and Victoria was looking through my script. This is back when we were in LA, and I wrote down all of Roberta's notes. I would anyway, but Roberta's notes, director's notes, my notes, and she was like, "Oh, I should have written a lot of that down." I mean, I'm very detailed in all this. So this script, by the way, I'm going to make a copy and sign it and have it for auction for the Children's Miracle Network charity coming up that Gene does. Last year I signed a game. Yeah, last year I signed a game. So I think nobody has this at all. Wow. But Victoria found a page in there and she said, "What is this? They made you sign this?" Well, it was informal, but I had to sign it and got a copy, but it was basically from the director. I can't remember if it was from Roberta and them, but it said, during the shooting of Phantasmagoria all the way through the post, you will not mountain climb, hang glide, scuba dive, repel, because I love to do all these things. And I guess it had gotten around, and the director, he was just making sure that I wouldn't do anything to physically, actually it said, you will do nothing that will physically mutilate your body or cause something like that. And I signed it, and it was in my script. And she said, wow, I can't believe they made you sign that. And I said, yeah, well, had a reputation. I went through stunt school. So, I like to do whatever, but not then.
I was reading through some older interviews with Roberta Williams, and she mentioned a time that Robert Miano did a song and dance routine wearing his severely burned Carno costume and makeup on set. Do you have any recollection of that happening?
No, I probably wasn't there that day.
I'm just trying to imagine the scene.
Robert was a hoot, and we knew each other well from Los Angeles, and took a lot of master classes and workshops and things together and hung out. So he was a hoot. He was a good soul. Everybody was.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a great team altogether. For such an intense game, there was a lot of camaraderie, and it seems like a good humor about it.
It was, and like I said, Roberta was wide open to suggestions or trying something. The only regrets, anything you ever do, you look back, I wish I could have done that part again or that part. And I have a few of those with Phantasmagoria, and it's the crazier parts because it wasn't like the movie style, it was so exaggerated, and I didn't know how it was going to come across. I just knew it was exaggerated. But then again, never did a game. So Victoria was probably one of the best, biggest heart, big soul giving actresses I ever worked with. We got along perfect from day one. It was so easy. It wasn't even like, a job with us. So she made my part so much easier.
Yeah, there is a visible chemistry between you guys all the way through. When you're playing the game, you can just tell that you guys jive really well together. And that definitely works well with the whole setup, because you guys have this fantastic chemistry in the beginning, and she just doesn't want to believe that something's up with Don. She's like, I don't believe in ghosts. There's really, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And I understand Roberta had to take it to extremes to really show like, no, you know what? Something really serious is happening. So I loved your chemistry all the way through.
Yeah, it was. It from the moment of the audition, I knew it too. You do as an actor after a while, at a point. I knew it. I knew it then. I knew that would be no problem, even though I had no idea what the script was. I knew it was going to come off well, definitely between us.
So when it came out, did you know people? Like, did you have friends who played the game shortly thereafter?
Yeah. I did. So it was about 1 year from the time we finished till I was I did another movie shortly after that, before I could fly home to Texas to see my family. And I come home, and first question was, "What'd y'all think of the game?" Well, and I look over, it's not even opened. It's sitting on the mantle. I went, Mom, Dad, my two sisters. I went, none of you played the game? Well, if it was a movie, we'd have watched it, but I'm not sure. We're not sure how to do this. And I went, oh my Lord! Good grief!
All 7 CDs wouldn't fit in there at the same time. I don't know.
That's great. Well, the game was kind of intended to be made for the more general audience, or audiences that didn't play computer games as often. So they made the puzzles a little bit less head scratching and a little bit more straightforward, I think, for this game in general. So hopefully that made it more accessible to some of your friends, David, at the time that didn't generally play those types of games.
Well, many of my friends were much more computer-oriented than me at the time. But yes, I think it helped open it up to a much bigger audience worldwide. They had a thing, play Phantasmagoria online or something like that a while back, and I got a kick out of listening to some of those because some of them were in German, and women loved the game, although. I got more fan mail probably from men than even women. It was crazy.
Really?
But when I was listening to the play the Phantas thing, you know, a lot of it was guys saying, "Oh, seriously, you want to play this thing?" You know, because they were probably playing shoot 'em up, drive the car, you know, whatever. And I heard a couple of them, and I was just laughing my ass off because they said, "Here, let me do it," and none of them were making it through it. And it was, I died. I got to start over. Are you serious? Oh, yeah. What did I need to pick up? This is crazy, man. I have to think too much.
Yeah, you can't mash the X button out of this one, buddy. You're gonna have to think a little.
When we were doing it, and then we got to the rape scene coming up, and hadn't discussed it or anything, and Roberta said, "Okay, tomorrow we're going to do, it's very risky, you know, we're really pushing the limit, but a rape scene." And I'm thinking, on the blue screen, no set, rape screen, okay, what exactly are we going to do? And so we kind of choreographed it out, and again, Victoria was great, and I said, I have no idea, just go for it. And I said, okay, well, if we're pushing the limit, then you're shooting from where? Back there behind me? Great. I'm going to take my underwear off. Make sure you get my ass in here. And they wouldn't do it.
It would have made the game. I don't know why they didn't include your ass. That's just ridiculous.
I rarely offer that to begin with.
Right?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if we're pushing it, let's, you know, give them something to look at. I wasn't sure what all they would see in the blue screen or how it would come off, you know. So we were both a little nervous about that.
Isn't it kind of funny though? It's like, okay, we're going to shoot this rape scene, but it's like, but no nudity. Just, you know, that's too far.
That's the line. Yeah. That's the line.
I was blown away. I said, "Really? Okay, well, whatever."
I'm just amazed you choreographed a rape scene. That alone sounds like a sight to see. I imagine just whispering "I'm sorry's" to Victoria as you're going along.
Well, we had to choreograph it because, you know, there was no set, so I had to make sure I wasn't pushing her into another room or
exactly. Stay in front of the sink.
It's also one of those things you probably don't get like okay, just improvise it kind of thing. Like I'm pretty sure you had to kind of block it out. Yeah.
You don't want to nail that the first time, you know, it may be suspicious.
You're a little too good at this scene.
Then I would have insisted to show my ass. And Roberta was so wonderful. Tomorrow, okay, you know her high little voice. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the rape scene and pushing the limit. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Was that her actual direction? We're pushing the limit?
Yeah, she, pushing. We're really pushing the boundaries. It's going to be very controversial, but we're going to go for it. We're going to do it. And I think it got the game banned.
But no buts. Yeah.
No buts about it.
Yeah, Australia, I believe. I think it was Australia.
Banned and Compu Center, I believe. There was some other stores too that just refused to sell it.
Yeah, Australia. That's funny because got more fan mail from there than anywhere, just about.
Go figure.
You know, this was the old days. Okay, this is when people actually wrote a letter. They either had, you know, you can look you up on the Actors Union and send it. So we got some that way. I had a P.O. box. I get a lot in there. That's coming from the union address, but a lot of them were sent to Sierra. They delivered, you know, a huge batch one day, and we were both blown away going through them. And I got the best, I have to say, because I got I don't know how many Polaroids or pictures of a naked girl somewhere, Brazil somewhere. Your eyes to me so blue. Pleased to meet you one day. I was like, wow, I'm going to catch a red eye, Tori.
We get the return address real quick.
It's crazy that people took the time and did that. It was funny.
Well, it was an effective scene. You almost didn't know where it was going at the beginning because it was, you guys started out like so loving and kind and almost passionate, and she was unsure, but then you kind of convinced her into it. But then you're just like, boom, here's the scene, and it's just going to like blow everybody's mind.
Right. Yes, same thing with the drain cleaner. Well, that went on for me forever. I was like, oh my God, I'm never buying another drain cleaner bottle again. I hope this is pivotal in this game because that went on a lot. And there's only so many ways you can say it and be under the sink.
What do you figure, a rough estimate, would be like the most number of takes you ever had to do for a shot?
Some of the more complicated ones were 8, 9, and that was more for camera and staging.
Okay.
Than anything. And there were some of them that, and if I had insisted, I know Roberta and the director, I know they would have let me do something over again. Sometimes I did, but some of the crazier stuff, because it just felt very unnatural to me compared to what I'd been shooting. And, I'd say, really? That's good. It's a game, remember, not a movie. And we're going to shrink you, and we need that extra. And okay. Okay.
And you said Roberta was really, she was really encouraging of if you had any suggestions. Were there any suggestions that you presented that made it into the, that they made it into the final product that wasn't there or was slightly changed from the original script?
Yeah, I'm sure there were. I'm sure there were a number of them, but there were small things, a line here or there, or a way of doing it, and I don't remember offhand to give any kind of a accurate. But yeah, Roberta was very open.
It was kind of like improv almost. I think it is. She said in one of the interviews that as much as it was following the script, it was really thinking on your feet a lot as well.
It was a lot of improv, improv. And I had just stopped really smoking cigarettes when I'm giving a cigarette after cigarette, so that blew that.
Yeah.
I was a smoker again.
Yeah.
I got to ask, how long did you keep the long hair for?
I love my long hair, and it was a fluke that it was that long right at that time.
Super long.
Yeah, that was the longest I think I've ever had it. And that was, I had a few projects and it just kept working. And then after the game, I loved my long hair. Plus, I knew people would recognize me with the long hair.
Yeah.
And then I was back in LA, and then I got a call for this big national commercial because I did stunts. And I don't know if any of you have been to Vegas. They have the Stratosphere, the big tall thing. And it was for super glue. So I was going to be on the outside, supposedly super glued. And as it goes up and down, saying, super glue. And I thought, this sounds like a blast. That ought to be some good money. And and I accepted it. And then as I'm walking out of the studio, the casting director says, we need to line up when you can get your hair cut. And I went, what? She goes, yeah, you need to look like a newscaster or a school teacher. I went, wait a minute, you're going to cut all my hair off? Aww. And I got home, called my agent, and I said, oh man, this is some really good. Those are the jobs actors like to get because, they pay really good and keep them going for a while. And I said, I don't want to cut my hair off. And then the next day, and I said, she said, we got to tell them. I said, well, I'm going to tell them I'm going to think about it tonight. And she said, we got to tell them tomorrow. Well, the next day and by then I was getting some nice calls just straight into the studios for things. And I got a call and they said, Babylon 5 wants to see you. And this was the Nelson Week rating shows coming up. And that's the big episodes. That's what all the actors want to get on. Everybody and their brother is going to be watching. The pay's better. Usually it's a 2-week shoot. So I went and got cast on Babylon, but then it's like all the makeup, and you wouldn't even know it's me, maybe by my voice. And So I had called my agent and I said, I'd really rather do the TV show than the commercial, even though not the same money. And I no longer got off that call, and she called my agent and said, they want to see you for JAG. I went, oh, like in 15 minutes. I went over there, and that was just a straight casting. I went in.
Nice.
Yeah, and they wanted the hair. So I called my agent from the studio and said, the hair stays. Commercial, bye. I got JAG, and she said, you got JAG and Babylon. David, I've never known an actor. You can't do two guest starring Nelson at the same time. I mean, it just doesn't happen. I said, but there's got to be a way to work it out. And by the time I got home, I got a call from Drew Carey's show. Same day. It's all the same day. Every bit of this. And I had done a musical, which only played one night because the guy that wrote it had a nervous breakdown or something in the hospital.
Oh, no.
But the one night was great. Yeah, it was me and 12 naked women on stage. It was really nice.
Wow. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so the hair worked for that too. I was Jim Morrison, and the casting director had been at that opening night and called me into Drew Carey, and that was a straight casting as well. So I called my agent then. I went, drop Babylon 5. I went, Drew Carey and JAG. Well, I don't know. And so the two shows got together and worked it out. So I got to do them both.
Oh, wow.
Right on.
Yeah. I think Drew was second in the ratings and JAG was fourth. That was good. And I got to keep my hair for the whole thing.
That's beautiful.
Full victory. Yeah.
I lost it shortly after that for the next role, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kept it for a while.
You kept it when it counts. Exactly.
Yeah. It was funny because it was a nightclub in Hollywood doing Phantasmagoria night, and we never knew about it. This is back when we were in Hollywood. We never knew about it until like the very end. And when by the time I did Phantaz, I had a celebrity, a big star friend of mine, who said, you are really doing some work, David. You want to try and keep your costume, get your script signed by all the stars, some of the backstage photos, because it's going to be worth stuff and something really cool to leave your kids, grandkids. So by the time we did Phantaz, I had it in my contract that I keep wardrobe number 1, which means my costume.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything else was auctioned, and I was talking to Ken just the other day, and all of Roberta's stuff, everything's in the museum, interactive museum somewhere in Boston, and they've contacted me 2 or 3 times to see if they could add my costume to it. I just didn't want to lend it out like that, but I kept my costume. But we found out about this club event, and I could have put my costume on with my long hair and walked around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little fun.
I like the idea of getting a call from Boston by from an angry Indiana Jones saying that belongs in a museum.
Ken said they got all our stuff. They don't have your costume. I said, yeah, they talked to me and sent me a message a time or two, but I don't know. Just wanted to hang on to it.
Yeah, I understand that. I would too, for sure. So I'm curious, mate. Was there a point where you played the game like start to finish when it was done?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Victoria and I never played it together. I don't know why. We never played it together. I played it with others. Mostly friends would have me come over and play the game. And then the director's son had asked me to come over and play the game. And he was on the internet, and he said, I don't know what he was on, but he said, hey, a couple of these people want to ask you a question. I went, cool. Well, it wasn't visual. It was like this, sort of. And first 2 questions I was asked, I was like, I have no idea. What happened in the mirror through the I don't think I was there that day. I mean, there was a lot involved in the game. I wasn't there for every single part. And so I didn't know the first 2 questions. And then that person wrote back, you're full of shit, man. That ain't even the actor.
Oh, my. That ain't you.
So I haven't done that since then, really.
That's funny. Yeah. Did you guys do like a release party? Did you guys do any touring? Like, what did you guys do when the filming was done and the game was being released? Yeah,
we did. It was about 2/3 of the way through. All of a sudden, reporters were coming from Japan and all over. Every day we had a set time where we'd do 3, 5, 6 game magazines, interviews. And then afterwards, we did a little bit of a promo tour. Went to a convention. I was there with Ken and Roberta on that, and that was just fun to walk around, and then, some tours, signed some posters. There was a green poster, and nobody has this either. I have 2 because there were very few, and it's the one we used on the promo tour.
Oh.
And yeah, so as far as I know, there are less than 20 signed because most of them were given out.
Mm-hmm.
I signed maybe 8 or 9, and so with Victoria, that were given out. I don't think she kept any. I kept a couple. So those are kind of cool. I'll sign one and send to each of you.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Oh,
I'll make
wow.
a copy of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And send them because those nobody has. I kept all the articles. I have a whole chest of all the articles and this
cool.
and that.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you.
When are you inviting us all over to dinner? I think we all want to look through your magic chest.
I've already envisioned us all hanging out here coming up. Once travel is allowed again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for us 2 Canadians, yes.
One of the interviewers, I remember him saying, "You should be buying stock in this game because it's gonna, Well, I didn't know anything about stock. Actually, Victoria and we discussed it, and I said, I don't know. Only thing I ever bought was gold and silver when I had big paydays. A little bit here, a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about stock, and she didn't either. And that was probably it was. We discussed it later. Big mistake because we could have taken half our salary and put it into stock, no problem, and then made 5 times more money, but. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
The reporter knew. But
So I was curious. There was another FMV from Sierra called Gabriel Knight 2. Are you aware of that game at all?
yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's just this is a kind of a toss away question, but my inner child is just curious. Have you by chance ever had like a conversation or back and forth with Dean Erickson, even if on Facebook?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. That's just so wholesome to hear. I'm glad you said yes.
Yeah. Dean's great. I was going to actually send him a message, or I may have done it already, because he's published some books, and I'm trying like hell to get this book of poetry out. I mean, it's all written now, but now it's the illustrations and Jesus, by Christmas, by God, for sure. But I was going to quiz him a little bit about his publishing.
So you're working on a poetry book then?
Yeah, I've been working on it for 32 years. No, for a couple of years now. I had it all ready, ready to send to Amazon, and then a fan, but a friend who's been on for a long time, won a huge award last year, Artist of the Year for South America or the Americas, and said, I would love to illustrate, a couple of your poems for you or whatever you want. I went,
nice.
wow, that's a good idea. I hadn't even thought of illustration. And so there are a couple of artists in our gaming world that I have looked at, their work and have much respect for. So I'm been hesitant, but I was thinking about contacting a couple of them and see if they would illustrate a piece or two for me. Mm-hmm. Once I have all that, then it goes to Amazon. It's done. It's ready to go. I'm going to be recording it in October as a book on tape.
Nice.
Oh, great.
What's the book called? Have you thought of a title yet?
Driven from the Darkness. And because it's, when I started a lot of this, so some of it, people are going to relate to Phantas, absolutely. But it's progressed, because it was originally, I started writing it for the fans, and it's a little darkness there. And it's progressed. I put one piece out maybe a year ago, and I think it was on the fan page, and said, if anybody would be interested, just let me know. And I had, several hundred people, like 600, say, yeah, I'm interested. So, so I've been working on it ever since.
I'm excited for it. Cool.
Yeah. It's not. I was talking to Carl, and I was talking to Ken and a few people about it. I just got Ken's book yesterday.
Oh, good. You
have it read tomorrow.
Nice.
Lucky
like
guy.
I can give him notes. Yeah, just need your notes, David. Okay, all right.
That's great that he thought of you. It's great that he decided you'd be one of the ones to look it over and verify his stories.
Yeah, cool. It was very cool. I, of course, flipped to the Phantasmagoria chapter first, which is all I've read so far. I tell him I'll have it all read tomorrow and send whatever notes. I mean, like I said, I can't give him notes. Good grief. I was going to tell you guys, thank you so much for this interview. Right after Roberta and Ken Williams, unbelievable. I'm like a wallflower in a bar singing karaoke for the first time, and a couple gets up who should, and they sing so well they should win the voice, and then I hear, okay, next is David Homb.
Well, and I loved hearing Roberta's point of view on the game Phantasmagoria, how close it was to her heart and how near and dear it was. And in fact, so much so that she had actually written about potentially doing a third one. I know she didn't do the second one, but she was asked about doing a third one. And at the time she said if she could have gotten enough support, and of course, if the company was still around, then they might have even done that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. She had so much passion, tenacity, drive, just vision, just perfection. All it was amazing to work for somebody like that from Hollywood, because you don't get a lot of that at all. So it was amazing to work for that. Plus, we got along so well immediately, and yeah, number 3 would have been great if the company hadn't sold. Dawn would have risen again.
Was Phantasmagoria your favorite to work on, or was it another TV show or movie?
No. Of all of it, looking back, Phantasmagoria was my favorite.
Top. Yeah. I love it. Oh, that's great. So it's your favorite and Roberta's favorite. That's so awesome.
Yes, I like that. When I heard her say that, I knew Ken was going to be on your show. I had a feeling Roberta might pop in.
We didn't.
Myself.
We didn't.
I had a strong feeling, but it was just awesome just to sit there and listen to her. I was smiling and laughing and reminiscing and should have sent her a message right then. See, you should have showed my ass.
Exactly.
Here's notes for your book, Ken.
No. Oh, yeah, funny.
At least from the side shot, right? Just like something that's not completely, but just show that it's there.
Yeah, because we're allowed some side boob.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I like their interview very much, and listening to Roberta because she was on set. Well, from the moment I auditioned to the, she was there every minute for everything, totally available. And then I loved hearing her say that was her favorite. That was really cool. And then also, I learned a lot from their interview. Like Gabriel Knight had real sets. I was thinking they were blue screen a lot too, but yeah, it's a little different when you have a real set and cat. And, well, we did have a cat, but.
You sent Dean a Facebook message like, what the hell, man? You guys got a real set?
I sent them a pretty lengthy message yesterday after I listened to the interview the second time. So anyway, I will also, whenever it happens, by Christmas for sure, dadgummit, when the poetry book's ready, I'll sign a copy and send it to all of you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. That's amazing of you. Yeah, that's very generous, and much appreciated.
You want me to read one to you?
Absolutely.
Please, that would be great.
This is the one that I put on the fan page whenever that was. It might have been 2 years ago. Okay, I'll read it to you guys. It's called Awake, I Dream. Life, lucid, leap of faith. A facade to be reckoned with. Tomorrow's luck, traveling to heaven. Relentlessly, we seduce the painter. Images subtly perfumed by escapism. We forever agonize over the boundary while probing the panoramic promise. Our true spirit, blithe in vision, always searching on borrowed time for a beginning beyond the end. The end.
Wow, nice.
Thank you. I
really
really appreciate that.
Yeah, there'll be things when I was talking to one of my writer friends who's got 5 or 6 books out, said, because I kept saying, well, I keep rewriting. If I go back and read it, I'm going to start rewriting. And then some of it I'll look back and go, why did I change it? And said, no, don't do it. When it comes out from your creative soul, sometimes rewrite, yes, but when it comes out like that, especially poetry, leave it, because that's the essence. And some pieces are going to stick with people. They'll relate to it, their life, their history, and other pieces are going to go, oh, wow, this sucks. I don't get this part at all. So I'm just making sure I spell all the words right.
It's truly subjective, poetry. What it means to you, what it means to the reader. I mean, even more so than a book or a movie. There's really so much that you can take into account in your own life when you hear poetry. So it can mean a lot to people, and you don't even know why when you write it.
Right. No, when it really comes out, I can barely write fast enough to get it done. And then we get done with this, and I sit down and say, okay, let me write a couple pieces. I'll sit there for forever. Can't think of anything except I need to go over and clean my mom's toilets out.
She's calling again.
That is poetry right there.
No, I turned the phone off. Thank y'all for letting me read that one. Thank y'all for letting me read that one. That was cool.
No, thank you. That was,
that
was great.
It was beautiful.
That's the first anyone's heard. Actually, no one's read anything, so that's the little premiere, I guess.
Awesome. Nice little sneak preview of the rest of your book.
Oh, it seems like you have had quite a varied career. How did you get into real estate?
Back when, let's see, it was crazy because I had just reached such a nice pinnacle. And my stepfather passed away. I was on location, couldn't come to the funeral. And I heard my mom was going downhill a bit. And I was just burnt out. I've been acting since I was 7. I went from theater to the print jobs and then industrial films and then the movies and TV game. I've been all around. I did a lot. I did a whole heck of a lot. And I was just burnt out. And I made a decision in a day. I gave away a bunch of stuff and most of my stuff and just threw the rest in the U-Haul and said, I'm going to go to Texas for a while. I didn't say anything to anybody until I was on the road. That's when I called my agent and said, I'm taking off to Texas for a while. What? I said, yeah. How long? I have no idea. I can always act. I just need to refresh myself. I did a lot of traveling over the next 10 years, 39 countries, get more perspective on life, and stories and writing. But I came home and my mom was in a bad place. This is before the health even started. And I heard back then answering machine, remember those? So I heard messages coming in, and she wasn't paying attention to anything. And I said, hey, Mom, what's it take to be a real estate agent? Well, about 6 weeks. Well, I had my license in, 10, 14 days. And I said, we're going to be partners. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We did great, had a lot of fun. I didn't realize at that point how much people were looking you up on the internet because I'm out with people many times. And all of a sudden they go, So, what was it like being on this show? Or, hey, I played that game you were in, man. I went, well, cool. Okay, here's the front door, and there's the back door. Let's look at the kitchen. The real estate was fun. It was a lot of fun. You know, it's nothing now, of course, this year. Everything died. I mean, this is the craziest, surreal year any of us have ever known. I mean, it stopped... It stopped so many of my plans, everybody's plans, job, work, everything dead in its track. I was in real good negotiations with an Academy Award director, foreign director, to do a movie. I'd love to do another movie, especially quality like this. And I mean, everything is just stopped.
Yeah.
For the time being.
Yeah, you travel plans, pretty much everybody's parked right where they are.
Yes, it gave me a lot of time to, well, finish my poetry book and do a lot on Facebook. I hadn't been on, off and on, you know. I've been on quite a bit lately in the last few months and had a lot of fun. Just been educating myself and meeting so many new people. I mean, every week it blows my mind still how I'll get, you know, it runs in, like I'll get 12 friend requests from Venezuela and 9 from Taiwan. You know, they all come in little sections. Like, I don't know what that is, but I get so many every week. And the old days, you know, just, you know, accept or if I even paid attention. And this time I look people up and I'm like, wow, that's a really cool person. Wants to be my friend. Wow, that's cool. And have had some great conversations, you know, when I'm friends with some of these people, they'll send me the coolest message back. I mean, not when they were 9 playing the game, but I played the game at one time, and my wife and I, and now, you know, just the coolest messages. I was bawling. Oh, a little over a year ago, I got this message, and this lady said I had terminal cancer. I was 22 or something, and you know, they said that was going to be it. My parents bought me the game, brought it to the hospital. I went through the chemo, radiation, and all of that, and not expected to make it. And I got so into that game, and your blue eyes, and that was, you know, however many years ago. I now have 3 children, no cancer. And I read that, and I just I started bawling. I am a mushmelon anyway, but I started bawling because you don't ever know. No. How you affect people's life, and not just the game, but, you know, the littlest things you do can affect somebody in ways you'll never know. Makes such a difference.
Well, it's true. You know, you might say something you think is an offhand observation, and it turns out that it changes somebody's viewpoint entirely. So it's pretty impressive.
Yes, I should re-release it. Take to the hospitals and say, hey, this will help your patients get over there, whatever.
Exactly. So I didn't even know people were still making FMV games, and here it is that you happen to be doing a voiceover in one that I mentioned earlier called Dark Nights with Poe and Monroe. How did all of that come about?
That, let's see, Gene, I was a friend of Gene's, and I signed the script, you know, for him to do the charity, the auction. And I was a friend of his who got a hold of me, Tim. Super good folks. Yeah, it was just a little bit, and I was happy to help out any way I could. I think
certainly a higher video quality.
Yeah, people are still making these games, I guess. I heard Roberta talking, you know, to y'all about it, which companies and what would, because what can be done now. I mean, Phantas was very experimental, even more than I knew at the time, especially listening to Ken and Roberta talk about it and what I've learned since then. But compared to then and now, it's crazy what can be done. I would love to make another one. Absolutely love to.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to see your name on more game bylines. I mean, great movies, TV, I would love to see all of what you want for you. But for me personally, because I'm a gamer, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, a game would be It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
as
we'd
long
love
as
to
it's not
see.
blue screen and they'll let me show my ass, I'll do it.
That'll be in your rider. I understand.
I'm keeping my costume and I'm showing my ass.
Exactly.
Where do I sign?
I know you had to wear a face prosthetic later and that it was an acid burn face prosthetic. Now, from what I heard, there was like only one face prosthetic and you guys had to work like a week solid wearing it. And by the end of the week, I hear it wasn't super easy to do.
Right. I don't know why there was only one. I don't know why there was only one. Yeah, and that was a lot of shooting with that. And yeah, by the end of the week, it was getting very hard to keep it on. Keep it on my face. Pizza face. That's what we call it, pizza face. Dave, it's pizza face day. Oh, great.
Oh, no.
Good deal.
Held together with dental floss and a prayer by the end.
It was so fun. I was trying to get them to not pushing it, but at the end when the chair and the guillotine and all that, I was going, you know what? I thought of another ending. I was just trying to bring Don back somewhere down the road. I thought of another ending. Yeah, none of that flew, but it's good ideas. Maybe I will save it for number 3 if you don't sell the company.
Exactly. No, the ending for Don didn't go so well there. And it's too bad because at first he seemed like such a nice guy.
Yeah, well, and that's true. And he is. And it's showbiz. Anybody can be reborn, come back alive. That's the best thing about showbiz.
Well, I'm curious. You had mentioned that you sold, or when you were selling houses, that a few people would be like, "I recognize you from the game." And from what I recall, I think when I purchased a house back in the day, that the real estate agent gave me like a nice gift basket at the end, as if it was customary. I don't know if it is, but if it is, and if you ever get the chance again, could you maybe leave some drain cleaner if they recognize you from the game? Like a nice little house.
For you, absolutely. Yeah, fruit basket. That was the customary thing when I started, but I had a problem eating a few pieces on the way to the closing and then trying to seal it back up.
I'll just replace it with the box version of the game. Go ahead.
Then I realized, maybe I'll give them a gift card to like Home Depot, something really useful. So I switched over to that. Now that's pretty standard to what everybody does. I don't think anybody does a bag of fruit anymore. But for you, drain cleaner, absolutely.
Beautiful. And if you don't mind, sign the drain cleaner too. I'd appreciate it.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
There was this guy that came in, and this is oil land down here. Big old Texas oil field guy, and wanted to give him a house for him and his daughter. He got every other week or whatever. And got him a house. We looked at it, and he said, "Well, this is perfect. I mean, doesn't have a stripper pole or my beer in the fridge, but it's perfect." So before the closing, I bought a stripper pole and went over and put it in the living room and put some Playboy centerfolds taped to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
12 pack of his beer in the fridge. And at the closing, when I handed him the keys, I said, "You remember what you said it wasn't perfect? Well, it is." 45 minutes later, I get a call. "You son of a gun! Dadgum, it's perfect."
Hit the nail on the head. That's great.
That's the kind of fun things I like to do. I love to do things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I think we've taken a whole lot of your time, mate, as it is, and I think unfortunately we're gonna have to try and wrap it up. But
yeah, this flew by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really did.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope.
Well, it's been a great pleasure to have you on, and we would absolutely love to have you on again.
Well, my sign to do another game, y'all. We'll do this again.
Yeah, we would absolutely love that. All right, well, we'll keep an eye out for your book for sure, and make sure that everybody knows when it's available, when it is. Really, really personally, I know all three of us are really looking forward to that. It's going to be lovely. So thank you again for your time, and thank you everyone for listening. We love you guys. You know the routine, right? We're a Facebook group, Classic Gamers Guild. Find us on Instagram at CGG Podcast. Find us on Twitter. Do us a tweet at the CG Guild. You can send us an email at mail@classicgamersguild.com. thank you so much to all of our Patreons. I really appreciate you for making the show possible. And a special extra special thanks, yeah, to Mark Fillion and Jay Holmes for your support. Appreciate you guys so much. And I think that's about it. So everyone, stay safe and don't do a murder unless you're dumb.